In today's video, we're going to be reacting to the latest strange and more questionable clips that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
When did the world stop looking like this? Well, right here. We all remember the world looking like this when we were growing up, bright colours everywhere, and it just looked so much better. So when did it stop? This also actually explains liminal spaces and why those things feel so familiar, so stick with me. First of all, there's something called Frutigliero, which is basically this software thing that lasted from like the 2000s to early 2010s. Of course, every time you'd load up a computer, you'd have these bright colours everywhere. It was just, it was pretty cool. And this went away and everything became a lot more dull. So, of course, back in the day, cameras were not the quality that we have them today. So everything had this kind of bright, grainy effect. You'd be taking photos like this at home. When you're out and about, the cities or the streets would look like this. Now, the world never actually looked like this. It's not about it stopping being colourful, but you were probably a lot younger, so you remember seeing everything on photographs and also Frutigliero on your computers and stuff when you were younger. So you have this narrative in your mind that this is what everything looked like because that is how you genuinely remember it. Also, when you look back at photos from back then, you will still see it like this because the camera qualities ain't gonna change. So all of your memories are from photos, or from you with young eyes who hadn't adapted. So it's more of a sense of nostalgia that this is how you remember life being from your perspective, but the world never looked much more colourful. It was exactly the same as it is now.
I personally do not think it has anything to do with cameras. I come from a family that really never used technology that much. It was primarily farm equipment and construction equipment. And my grandfather would say that it's not nearly as orange as it used to be outside. It's all light blue now is what he says. And I agree. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one.
Huge triangular UFO was seen in Scotland in a place called Livingston, right? And this was reported on multiple news outlets, from the Daily Record, Edinburgh Live, to the Yahoo, and a few others as well. And there's an eyewitness statement from Andrew himself which saw this. And if for those of you now that are sitting there going, oh, it's probably a hillside or a mountainside with lights on it, this is it in the daytime. This is it now. It is not a mountainside, right? So, here we go. At the end of the path, before turning right down towards the walkway bridge, I crossed to the other side before noticing a strange cloud which seemed to be slightly pulsating here. I thought nothing of it, but then I noticed what looked like a huge row of pulsating lights, and they seemed to blinker in and out and change shape ever so slightly. A little bit like the Phoenix lights, mate, right? Some were brighter in the middle, and each seemed to align in a triangular shape. That's when I got my phone out and started recording for over 6 minutes. I've lived with my partner in this area for 7 years, and we have never seen anything like that before. It seemed to just hover in the cloud like it was concealing itself. I found it mind-boggling, so I posted it on the website of UFOs and UAPs, and it just went crazy. The majority of people have been great, but a few have believed it to be cars on a mountain, and we just discussed that this isn't cars on a mountain. No mountains there or roads, and fireworks don't stay in the sky like that. I have taken photos and videos in the same place. I was standing just to show people there is nothing but sky to be seen. Look at this, bruv. This is massive. Whatever this is, it looks huge, mate, from the distance. That is a nifty size there, just hanging out in the clouds. And it's, again, one of these phenomena which seem to look like they're concealing themselves in the sky, right? Absolutely incredible. And Scotland, especially Livingston as well, around this area is prolific for UFO sightings. And with CMEs and solar flares, all the activities picking up right now. Exhibit A.
I am not certain if this is a real video. I'm not going to claim it as being an AI generated one. This person supposedly has people that he knows that are eyewitnesses. But what I could take a guess at, if it's not a alien spaceship or some kind of UFO of that sort, I had a video that had something similar in the sky, and it was also at nighttime. I did not know what it was then. Well, in the comments of that video, there was a good number of people that were telling me that it could have been a very good possibility that it was nighttime skydivers with pyrotechnics. I would have never have thought of that if no one would have brought that up to me. Now, in this case, is that what that is? I'm not certain, but I will not rule it out. So thank you for the information on that one for the people that left that in the comments, because that opened my eyes to a whole new scene of what it could be in the sky.
The following footage is groundbreaking. Like, this is a 1 in a million type video. This comes from an unidentified woman who was just doing a Snapchat to her friend, just talking about what she planned on doing that day. But look directly behind her. There's something in this house, and it's not a ghost. This looks like an alien, literally an alien out of signs. Take a look at this. I've slowed it down so you can see this creature. Tell me what you think.
That you know. But in one that's I'm just gonna let this one because I went and bought.
The video response did seem natural. It did not look like an act. But whatever was behind her did not necessarily look real. And if it was real, she either has other people living in that house that are moving around, or there's a gremlin.
Apparently, blood being blue in your body is just a Mandela effect. Watch this.
Almost 100% sure that they taught us that blood was blue inside the body until it hits oxygen and then it turns red. And I just saw a video of a 6th grade teacher talking about why do her 6th graders think that blood is blue. And my first thought was, how do you, as a teacher, not know that blood is blue until it hits oxygen? And then I looked it up, and apparently that was never true. So now I'm wondering, because I could have sworn they taught us this in schools. Like, I don't even know if this is a Mandela effect or if this is just like misinformation completely, or if they are like they just lied to it. Wait, who else thinks that blood is blue? Actually, let me ask.
I remember being told that the reason why our veins looked blue was because of the way our skin filtered out the veins. But I don't think I was ever told that our blood was blue before. I don't even think my mind would be able to fathom that. Definitely not as a child. I mean, dealing with farm animals and preparing dinner for something that was blue to turn red that fast, that just doesn't even make sense to me. But let me know if anyone knows this Mandela effect. I looked it up, and apparently this is a Mandela effect where people said that they were taught this in school. I definitely was not taught that in school, so I must be from a different timeline. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a video like this every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And for everyone that's watching and or subscribed, thank you so much for supporting the channel.
You notice when we talk about people doing horrible stuff on islands, people always think the tropics. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be that far away. It doesn't have to be in the Caribbean. It doesn't have to be in the tropics. It could be in the middle of a Great Lake. Take North Fox Island in Michigan, for example. In the 1970s, it became one of the darkest secrets hiding in plain sight. What was supposed to be a summer camp for troubled boys, funded by a supposedly charitable man named Francis D. Sheldon. On paper, it was all about helping kids and preserving nature, but behind that polished smile, he was running a front, because that wasn't a summer camp. It was a trafficking ring, one connected to a network of predators, operating not just on the island, but across the whole state. When it started unraveling, Sheldon vanished, like disappeared off the face of the earth, never charged, never found. To this day, no one knows what happened to him. Supposedly, he went to the Netherlands, and yet, while everyone talks about the mystery, almost nobody talks about the infrastructure that allowed it to happen. And it's because there are thousands of places like that. Not just in Michigan, but there's vast areas of private land, islands with no docks, forests with no mapped roads, compounds tucked away behind no trespassing signs that even drones can't fly over without permission. Every state's got its version: fenced-off wilderness, underground bunkers, ghost towns that never officially closed. And the scariest part in North Fox Island wasn't a myth. It wasn't hearsay. It was real. It was proven. The whole thing was documented in police reports. But hey, it got brushed under the rug because it's just regular old guys doing what rich guys do best, buying prophecy and calling it philanthropy.
Wow, I've never heard of this. And the simple fact that that guy got away, man, that's scary because there's probably other places that he was operating in as well.
Something massive is afoot right in front of us, and I'll prove it in 1 second. Unrelated, did you see what Tucker Carlson just posted? I'll be right back. And I mean really, stay till the end.
What are these lines in the sky that we have all seen?
They're sprayed particulate dispersion. Bottom line is, when we have up-close film footage of these aircraft at altitude with nozzles visible turning dispersion, this is not, quote, condensation. Watch.org is the only entity to sample what these heavy aircraft are emitting at altitude. We found exactly what we knew we would find, starting with the aluminum particles, bioavailable freeform aluminum to all life, period. That element is named in numerous climate engineering patents as part of a geoengineering dispersion element. This elephant in the sky.
So of course, we know all these people are just being downright bat crap crazy. We know. Like, what are they even talking about, right? But let me ask you this. This same video is posted on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. No problem whatsoever. Why now? By the way, TikTok, I'll sue you. There is something much bigger afoot right now, and it's apparent that the lid is being removed off everything under a certain circumstance. Would he have been able to post that video a few years ago? You know, the sky has been so clear and blue the whole government shut down. Look at this beautiful night a few nights ago. Of course, the shutdown is completely 1000% unrelated to the sky. Why is there X in the sky at nighttime? Why now? Think. Bookmark, save the video. Something is coming.
I know in the first part of the government shutdown, the skies were clear, but a few days after, I started seeing the chemtrails back in the sky, and I seen a lot of people in the comments also saying that they see a lot of them in the sky as well. But at first, a lot of people were saying that it was clear out. It does kind of make me wonder if the government pulled back on something and then said, oh, all right, we got to invest into it. Let's continue the process regardless. Could have been a coincidence, but there's a lot of people that say that that's not a thing. But let me know how you feel about all this.
Psychics who have solved crimes. In 1987, 27-year-old Andre Diego went missing after a night out playing pool with friends. He was declared a missing person after 4 days, but the police immediately ruled out foul play. In a desperate plea, his sister reached out to a well-known psychic called Rosemary and asked for help. Rosemary agreed to help the family, so she told them to bring along a photo of Andre and also a map of Louisiana, items that would prove key to solving this mystery. By the way, if you like these types of videos, please make sure you're following if you aren't already, and if you are following, hit the like and repost and show the page some love. Anyway, the family met with Rosemary and they handed the photo and the map to her. Rosemary then placed them down on a table face down and closed her eyes. Within a few moments, Rosemary held her head and she told the family that Andre was no longer with us. She told them that he had taken a blow to the head with a blunt object, but they are looking for 2 men. There is 2 men responsible, not just one. Again, with her eyes closed, she touched an area of the map and she said, this is where you'll find the men. In another desperate plea, Andre's brother actually drove to the area and coincidentally drove past his brother's car. The police were then immediately called and 2 men matching Rosemary's description were arrested. Rosemary then became the first ever psychic medium to be asked to stand as a witness on a murder trial.
Now, I could not find anything about this specific story, but putting your fingers in a general area on a map, that could just be by pure luck. And then those 2 guys were just there at the wrong time. That would be an awful situation to be put in. Man, it would be really interesting to be a psychic. Like, if they're real, then that would be a power that I would really like to try to control. Just imagine being able to find missing people. I mean, sometimes they may not be alive, but in other times they could be. And you could be the reason why they continue to be alive. That would be a pretty amazing gift.
Appalachian rule number 47, pray to God you never meet this creature. You've heard the stories of never answering if something calls your name while you're out in the mountains. That rule is in existence because of one creature, the wampus cat. The Cherokee Indians used to thrive in eastern Kentucky, East Tennessee, western North Carolina, and this terrifying tale comes from the Cherokee. Many, many decades ago, the Cherokee warriors had a sacred meeting that only men could attend, and this one lady in the tribe let curiosity get the best of her. According to legend, she wanted to sneak close as she could to this meeting. She put on the pelt of a cougar or a panther. However, when she got too close, she was discovered, and that forever changed her life. It's said that the medicine man of the tribe placed a curse on this lady that she would forever remain half human and half panther or cougar, some type of wild cat. Just like you see in this picture that was captured on the Appalachian Trail camera, this thing looks almost like some kind of cat, some kind of cryptid, some kind of monster. It's believed that this poor lady is still roaming the Appalachian Mountains, sometimes as a cat, sometimes as a woman, sometimes as both. One thing is for certain, if you're ever out here and you hear something call your name, don't answer.
The story hook was interesting, but the image, that could have been a really skinny black bear, maybe one with mange, but a wampus cat? Let me know what you guys think.
Are these people okay, genuinely? How detached from reality do you think one would have to be to create an anti-aging face mask for children 3 and up? Just wondering. I would dare to say that about 99% of Hollywood does not have their original faces, meaning they're having something injected, taken out, or implanted somewhere to be prettier. And now they're inventing something to make children look younger longer. And not just that, Shay, but the panda eyes. Really? And this isn't just some kind of conspiracy, you guys. This is literally what happens to severely abused children.
Panda, so you got Panda is a secret code for a certain thing. And so when it comes down to that certain thing, and if you touch that nerve, you can turn a person into an animal. You can turn a person into whatever you want them to be if you just hold them down.
And she has 3 to choose from. The puppy dog, which looks like it has 1 black eye. The unicorn, which just has a little bruising above the brow. And then full-on panda. To be honest, no matter how you look at it, it's giving detached and very strange. And when you look at the company she keeps, like Brita Song, for example, it makes you wonder if they're playing in our faces or if this is just truth in plain sight. Which, if you didn't know, not sure how because they are weirdly everywhere all of this sudden, Brenda is married to Macaulay Culkin, who literally has a band called the Pizza Underground. Kinda suspicious, kinda odd. If we know, they know. So why do they do it? Tell me, guys, is it truth in plain sight? Are they mocking us, or is it all just one big coincidence?
Is it really necessary for children to have anti-aging masks and cream going on right now? That's pretty bizarre to me. I get some people may have dry skin and they need lotion to help moisturize it, but I personally think that these cheap face masks are going to cause more harm than good, especially in the long run. Maybe not the more high quality ones that have natural ingredients in them, but it is hard to tell a child no when they want something that they see a parent use or an influencer online use, especially when the product actually geared towards kids. It's just going to make them want it even more.
I'm at work. I'm the only person here. And oh my god, I'm scared. The scary movie says you don't go see what's going on. But what the I'm gonna okay, I'm gonna die.
Expect a jump scare. I had to go back and listen to this over again because I did not hear what she was talking about. Listening back over again, I definitely hear a xylophone playing. So either that alligator xylophone plays itself, or there was someone playing with that thing, because that's definitely what it sounded like, was the xylophone. That would be pretty freaky, especially if you're in a big office by yourself.
We've just learned something really cool about cancer from whales. Let's talk about it. So one of the biggest mysteries in biology is called Peto's paradox, and it goes like this. The bigger an animal is, the more cells it has, and the more DNA it has, and the more copies of that DNA have to get made as those cells divide. This presents a lot of opportunity for DNA mutations, and the buildup of mutations is one of the major culprits behind cancer. So you would think that larger animals with more cells would be more likely to get cancer and die young. But bowhead whales are not only some of the largest animals on Earth, they're also some of the longest lived. The Inupiat people of Alaska, who have spent a lot of time studying these whales, have said that they can live for 2 human lifetimes. But with all of those cells and all of that DNA and all of that time for the DNA to mutate, how do they live so long? Well, as of last week, we actually have a pretty strong idea. Scientists started by checking if whale cells are just better equipped to handle mutations than human cells are, and they did this by deliberately causing cancer-associated mutations in the whale cells and seeing how many it took for them to become malignant. Surprisingly, the whale cells actually seemed less able to handle mutations than the human cells, so the scientists switched gears and they started looking at how frequently those mutations actually occur in nature. They found that whale DNA actually mutates at a much lower rate than human DNA. So one of the major things that causes mutations is what are called double-strand breaks. Your DNA looks like this. It's made up of 2 strands that coil around each other. If both of those strands break, you have 2 broken ends of DNA flapping around in the wind, which is very, very bad. When this happens, your cells go into panic mode and they try to fix it as quickly as possible. And usually this means just kind of slapping those broken ends back together in a process called non-homologous end joining. But if anything has happened that has damaged those 2 loose ends, then just pasting them back together as is going to result in an intact but messed up DNA molecule. It's kind of like gluing a mirror back together.
You can still see the crack in that mother reflection.
But whales, as it turns out, are really good at non-homologous end joining. It's like their cells are melting the mirror back together rather than just gluing it. And the scientists figured out that a major tool that their cells use for this process is called CIRBP. Now, human cells also have CIRBP, but it's built a little different and in a way that seems to make it way less effective. And when scientists shoved the whale version of the protein into human cells, those human cells got better at non-homologous end joining, resulting in fewer mutations. Now, this obviously has huge implications for human cancer research, and I think it's a really great example of how breakthroughs in medicine can come from the most unlikely sources. Evolution is a crazy thing, and a lot of the creatures that we share this planet with are both similar enough to us and different enough from us that by studying them, we can learn a lot about who we are.
Very, very interesting. Kind of reminds me of the movie Avatar, the one with the blue aliens. I think the latest movie was called Way of the Water. In that movie, people from Earth hunted these whales that were on this planet because the whales had a special organ or something about them that basically reversed the age of humans or made humans live longer. This kind of reminded me of that. It's only a matter of time before we find a specific animal that prolongs our life, and then the next thing you know, we're just out there hunting that animal, or they'll just capture the animals and farm them. Either way, those animals will not have a good life. But as far as this goes, it is still really interesting. Let's just hope it doesn't progress to that level.
Have you ever heard the phrase, the Nephilim look like clowns? And do you know where that comes from or why they say that? Basically, the idea of Nephilim looking like literal freaking Ronald McDonald clowns comes from the idea that they had red hair, that they were cannibals, so they would have blood on their face, on their nose, on their mouth, and it gave them like this stereotypical clown appearance. Now, the Nephilim are supposed to be like the sons and daughters of fallen angels and humans. They were supposedly giants. But how interesting is it that supposedly the whole caricature of a clown came from them, apparently, and yet we have so many different versions of clowns throughout history in different cultures. So what is the significance of that? Well, before we go any further, why don't we talk a little bit about trickster entities or the trickster archetype? Because trickster entities are these beings that pop up under the influence of psychedelic plant medicine. And for many people, including myself, they present themselves as like literal actual clowns. They look like clowns, like some silly goofy haha beings. The trickster is poking fun at the illusion. They are trying to help you see through it yourself. Their chaotic nature is what typically gets people to interpret them as kind of evil, but they're not evil, they're mischievous, they're clever, and they're just joking around. Now, these are 2 separate ideas that I am bringing together. Why? Because I had an experience where I encountered trickster entities that looked like clowns. And then I started going down the rabbit hole of the Nephilim looking like clowns. And I'm like, what's up with all these clowns? What is the meaning of clowns? And then the conclusion that I came to within myself was that God is a clown. God is a clown, playing a joke on itself. Ha ha, hee hee. I'm not real. Look at me. I'm an individual. I'm a being. I'm a person. I'm living a life. And then the illusion breaks down. You remember who you are behind the character that you're playing. And all you can do is laugh.
I mean, people are probably not going to like to hear that God is a clown, and I, for one, have never heard the reference of Nephilim being clowns, or clowns coming from Nephilim. That's a new one to me. I do see the resemblance if they have red hair, but to put together that they're a cannibal and they had red face and red nose because of it, seems like a stretch to me. And as far as the psychedelic entities, that's a whole different story. I know nothing about that. I've never once seen a psychedelic clown before. But hey, that's why I like to watch these types of videos. You get to get a good idea of other people's minds and their theories and the things that they just can come up with. It can be a trip, but sometimes people really come up with some really good theories. This one though...
Yo, you want to hear some sketchy shit? Have you ever heard of the dark forest theory? If not, wait. Hold on. Okay. Oh, wait. Crap. Wrong one. There you go. There's the right one. All right. So the dark forest theory, in a nutshell, suggests that there is life in the universe. In fact, the universe is teeming with life. However, the only option for those civilizations, which are probably much more advanced than us, is to stay hidden. Because if you're a civilization that no one else knows about, and you make yourself known to other civilizations, no one knows the intent of the other civilization. So really the only and best option is to end that other civilization. So everyone just hides. What do you think? Because that's crazy. Think about Three Eye Atlas and all that, and maybe, I don't know. What do you think?
Interesting theory. And if space is real, I personally believe in this theory. In a way, I don't necessarily believe that all these other advanced species are staying hidden from each other. One, we're just not able to see them because we're not advanced enough. Two, they know about us, but because we are not advanced enough, they do not approach us. They may observe us from space, the sky, and the sea, but they're definitely not going out of their way to just say, hey, yes, there's advanced life out there, here we are. Because one, we are just not ready for that. We would not believe it if they did, and we would probably become very hostile and try to blow them up. And if they're a species that's hyper advanced, they would be able to destroy us in the matter of seconds. And I'm sure they don't want to do that. So are they hiding? Sure, from us, but more than likely not each other. That would be my take on it. And again, that is if outer space is real. There's a lot of people out there that say it's not. I have personally never been to space, so I cannot say it's real, but looking up at the night sky, seeing the moon and distant planets through a telescope, it just does not seem like there's a firmament within our sky level. If there is one, it's way beyond outer space, because there's things up there that you can actually see with your eyes, and things even further if you have a telescope. But let me know what you believe. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. If today's your birthday, happy birthday, and if not, have a good day anyways.